What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. And I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group. And as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 3 picks right and got 21 right, which is a 90% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 90% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak. But if you want to get a 90% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $700 just yesterday. Another member who won $215 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So I want to give a quick shout to this guy LC who said, "I'm so glad YouTube recommended this channel." Also shouts out to Nero Fury who said LFG. Shouts out to also E Jeter 4710 who said me time, and shouts out to 415 Juice Baby who also said just join Discord, let's see. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is Jalen Green, and this one is for 20.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now look at Jalen Green. We've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we see that on April 10th they faced off against LA Clippers, where he had 5 points in that matchup. Then moving on from that, on April 12th he actually faced off against the LA Lakers, where he had 7 points there. After that, faced off against Denver, had 2 points on April 14th. In game 1 of the playoff series, had 7 points against the Golden State Warriors on April 21st, and then exploded for 38 points on April 24th against the Warriors in game 2. So it's definitely been an interesting time for Jalen Green, but he has gone on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, and his average over the last 5 games has also been 11.8, so significantly below this line. Now there's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this one, but looking at their matchup, first of all, the Houston Rockets do face off against the Golden State Warriors in this game 3. Now obviously looking at this matchup, we do know Houston Rockets do rank 2nd in the Western Conference with a record of 52-30, and then the Golden State Warriors on the other side have a record of 48-34, a 58.5% win percentage, and they actually came in ranking 7th. Now it is a tied series, it is 1-1, so it is definitely going to be a very interesting game there. But looking at Jalen Green, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, as you know, Jalen Green has done a fantastic job in the most recent game, but we should see him come back down to reality. Now the reality being that the Golden State Warriors, now guys, we are looking at the top 16 teams when it comes to these rankings. So the Golden State Warriors actually do rank 4th in points allowed. So, like I mentioned, we are looking at the top 16 teams, which are the top 16 teams that made it to the playoffs, and they ranked 4th, which is really high, and that is a big reason why we do very much like the under for this one. Now, although Jalen Green did have a breakout game where he had 38 points, that was a little bit of an outlier game. He's definitely going to have games like that, and any NBA player will have games like that where they go off for quite a lot of points. I think Jalen Green had that game, which was fantastic for him, but we should see him come back down to reality and go on the under in this one. He did go on the under in the first game. He only had 7 points in that matchup on April 21st on game 1, and coming into this next one, we all do know that Golden State Warriors really do love to adjust their defensive strategies, and we are expecting different defensive strategies coming into this next game for sure. Now looking at Jalen Green as well, what we also do see is that when we look at his matchups against the Golden State Warriors throughout the actual regular season, we do see something pretty interesting, because we do see that on the 2nd of actually last year, we saw them play. He had 7 points in that matchup, so he went on the under in that one. Then faced off again on the actual 5th of December, and in that matchup, he only had 14 points, so similar outcome there. Then on top of that, faced off against on the 11th of December, and he had 12 points in that matchup, so went on the under in that. And then 13th of February, faced off again where he had 9 points. And then on the 6th of April, we actually saw him have 21 points. So he did go over on that line. So the fact that out of these 5 games, Golden State Warriors have been able to restrict him and hold him to under his line in 4 out of the last 5 games really tells us a lot. And including the playoffs, he has gone 50-50. One of the games did score 38. The other, he did go on the under. So we should see the under for this situation here. Like I mentioned, when it comes to Jalen Green, obviously it is an outlier game, and it has brought this line a little bit too high, that we do believe 20.5 as the line for Jalen Green is a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value to go on the under. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So Jalen Green, 20.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Scotty Pippen Jr. So as you all know, Scotty Pippen Jr., great player for none other than the Memphis Grizzlies. And this one's a fantastic one for 14.5 points. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Scotty Pippen Jr., we've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, which is interesting to see. Now, obviously, looking at it, we do see that on April 16th, they faced off against the Golden State Warriors, where he had 9 points there. Then on April 19th, faced off against Dallas, where he had 13 points in that matchup. Moving on from that, we actually saw game 1 of the series against Oklahoma City Thunder on April 21st. He actually had 2 points there. Then had 13 points on April 23rd against OKC, and then 28 points against OKC on April 25th. So yes, we did see him go and have an outlier game in that most recent matchup, but OKC, Memphis Grizzlies, this matchup is very important, or this game is very important, because if Memphis loses this one, it is actually all over, and Memphis are going to be going home. So OKC currently have the lead 3-0 in this playoff series, so that's why it is very, very important that Scotty Pippen Jr. and the Memphis Grizzlies tried to get it done, because this could be the last game. Now, looking at both of these teams, obviously Oklahoma City Thunder did take the number 1 spot in the Western Conference and also had a record of 68-14. They had an 82.9% win percentage, so they did fantastic during the regular season. And on the other side, you also had the Memphis Grizzlies, who had a 48-34 record. Also did pretty decently, but they did have the 8th spot, so it was definitely interesting there. Now, when we look at Oklahoma City Thunder, like I mentioned, guys, is ranking in the actual top 16 that made it to the playoffs. We do see OKC ranking 3rd when it comes to points allowed. Now, although Scotty Pippen Jr. did go off for 28 points in the most recent game, we think that was a little bit of an outlier game. We saw in the first 2 games he didn't score that much, and we should see him come back down to reality in this next matchup. Now that is an outlier game, it's brought this line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under in this one, especially with OKC trying to close this out. We definitely could see OKC come out with a little bit more firepower due to the fact that they are looking to get this win over with and hopefully move on into the next round. So looking at Scotty Pippen Jr. over his games in the regular season against OKC, we do see something pretty interesting. On the 29th of December, we saw him have 10 points there. Then on the 8th of February, had 6 points in that matchup. After that, we actually saw on the 5th of March him have 15 points, and then on the 27th had 17 points. So he did go on the under in 2 out of the 4 games, so it was straight 50-50 split. But now that it is playoff time, and we look at game 1, game 2, and game 3, we have seen Scotty Pippen Jr. go on the under in 2 out of those 3 games so far. OKC are definitely a much better defensive team, especially now that it is the playoffs, due to the fact that they are looking to try to secure this win and move on to the next round. So we definitely have seen them do that time and time again. So although Scotty Pippen Jr. did have himself a pretty, big game points-wise in the last matchup, we don't really see that happening in this next one. That was a little bit of an outlier, so we should see him come back down to reality. Now, looking at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Scotty Pippen Jr., 14.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Michael Porter Jr. So, as you all know, Michael Porter Jr., great player for none other than the actual LA Clippers. And this one's a fantastic one because, as you all know, this one is for points for 10 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Michael Porter Jr., we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, which is interesting to see. Now, obviously, MPJ, we have seen on April 12th face off against Memphis, where he had 7 points in that matchup. Then April 14th actually faced off against Houston, where he had 19 points there. Then April 20th faced off against LA Clippers in game 1 and had 3 points in that matchup. Then April 22 faced off against Clippers again, where he had 15 points, and then 7 points against the LA Clippers on April 25th. So we've actually seen Michael Porter Jr. go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, and his average over the last 5 is also 10.2, so just slightly, above this line. Now, when it comes to MPJ, he's definitely been very interesting when it comes to, his usage rate out there. It's definitely been very unpredictable, a little bit all over the place. But when it comes to MPJ, we do very much like the under coming into this next situation. A big reason being is that when we look at their matchup, they do face off against the LA Clippers. Now, LA Clippers are currently up in the series 2-1, so Denver are definitely looking to try to secure themselves this win. Now, obviously, looking at both of these teams, Nuggets did come in at the 4th spot in the Western Conference with a 50-32 record, while Clippers came in on the other side and had a 50-32 record as well. Now, they had both a 61% win percentage, so very interesting there for both of these teams. So it's definitely been a very even matchup, I would say, between both of these teams, which is definitely going to be an interesting game overall due to the fact that both of these teams are definitely looking to try to get the win. Now, coming into this next game, we do see the LA Clippers do rank 6th when it comes to points allowed. So this one's an interesting one because when we look at someone, like MPJ, we do see him going in the under due to the fact that he is actually a forward, and LA Clippers not only do rank very high when it comes to points allowed, but they do a fantastic job at restricting points to the forward position. So we definitely see someone like MPJ struggling coming into this game, no doubt about it. Now, obviously, both of these teams are pretty slow paced, so we are expecting coming into this game that we should see a little bit of a different sort of, pace that we usually do see from MPJ, especially that we have seen it, throughout this series so far. So he has only gone on the over in 1 out of those 3 games. So it's definitely been an interesting time for him. So that's why we are definitely sticking to the under for this one. Now, looking at his regular season matchups against Clippers so far this season, it's definitely been, a little bit of an interesting story because we actually have seen him on the 26th of last year. We saw him actually have, 9 points in that matchup. So he did go on the under there. Then after that, we saw him actually, saw them play each other again on the 1st of December. And in that matchup, we see him have 18 points there. And then on the 13th of December, had 17 points. And then on the 8th of January, had 19 points there. So we actually saw him go on the under in only 1 out of those 4 games. But we are expecting still the under coming into this next game, no doubt about it. We definitely have seen MPJ's usage rate decrease quite a bit during this playoff. Like I always mentioned, playoffs is a definitely different sort of battle to the regular season. Things can definitely change. Strategies can definitely change compared to the team that they're playing. And I think with this matchup, we definitely have seen MPJ not really having the same amount of usage rate due to the strategies and also due to the fact that Clippers just do a fantastic job against, the forwards. So we definitely see that affecting it coming into this next matchup. Obviously, since it is a little bit of a breakout game as they are down when it comes to the series matchup, we are expecting players like Jokic, like Jamal Murray, and others to have a little bit more higher usage rate than Michael Porter Jr., especially coming at this crucial point in this game. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for someone like MPJ. So Michael Porter Jr., 10 points for less, I think is a great pick.
Alright, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Bam Adebayo. Now, as you all know, Bam Adebayo has done a fantastic job because during the regular season, he's actually averaged 18.1 points, ranking him 47th, 9.6 rebounds, ranking him 12th, 4.3 assists, ranking him 56th, and then a 41st in field goal percentage with a field goal percentage of 48.5. So he has done a fantastic job for the Miami Heat, but now the Miami Heat do face off in Game 3 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, it's definitely been a tough time for Miami Heat because they are currently down 2-0 in this series. Obviously, looking at both of these teams, we all do know that the Cavaliers did actually end up taking the #1 spot in the Eastern Conference. They had a record of 64-18, which was a 78 win percentage. And then looking on the other side, Miami Heat 37-45 with a 45.1%, win percentage. So obviously we did mention that earlier, but when it comes to obviously both of these teams, no one really is expecting Cavaliers to let Miami Heat win a game due to the fact that it is 1 versus 8. So there is a lot of favor in the Cavaliers winning this series. However, we are looking more at props. But what we do see with the Cleveland Cavaliers now, like I mentioned earlier, guys, we are going off the top 16 teams that made it into the playoffs. So with this ranking, if you're in the 8th or below, you're pretty much in the bottom half. But looking at Cavaliers, we do see that they ranked 8th in points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, they do actually rank 13th, and then rebounds allowed, we also did see that the Cleveland Cavaliers are ranked a little bit better in 3rd. Now, when it comes to someone like Bam Adebayo, we do very much like, the over for this situation here, but I definitely would focus on points and assists. A big reason being is that when it comes into this next game, we are heading back to Miami Heat. So this is going to be a Miami Heat home game. And the reason why this is important is that teams tend to perform a lot better in their home court due to the home court advantage of playing in your city, and also with the fans cheering you on. So it definitely does have an effect, although people may not think it does, but definitely has a huge effect on the game. When it comes to Bam Adebayo, we definitely see him being able to take advantage of this and being able to go on the over on his line. Now, when it comes to rebounds, I do believe he still definitely has the capability to go on the over. However, it definitely is a little bit more slightly 50-50 due to the fact that Cleveland are just such a great rebounding team. So I think points and assists is definitely where you want to focus on. I think when it comes to rebounds, there's definitely a possibility there, but I would see or focus a little bit more on points and assists for that one. So, for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for this situation here. When it comes to someone like Bam Adebayo, what we also do see is that Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers, both of these teams, we are expecting coming into this game, and Miami Heat are expected to really come out firing due to the fact that they have already lost the first 2 games. Now, looking at his matchups or his previous games against Cleveland, we actually saw in Game 1, we saw him actually have 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So he did actually, go on the over in his points line there, which is pretty good to see. And then moving on into Game 2, we saw him have 11 points, 14 rebounds, and 9 assists. So didn't do well in points, but he did very well on rebounds and assists during that matchup. So it's definitely been interesting, but now coming into Miami Heat, we should see Bam Adebayo be more in his comfort zone due to the fact that he is playing at home, and Miami Heat are going to make some adjustments to try to get this Game 3 win. So it's definitely going to be very important, but we definitely see him going on the over for this one. So definitely keep an eye out for Bam Adebayo. I definitely see a lot of value there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jalen Williams. So as you all know, Jalen Williams, great player for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's done a fantastic job because he's actually averaged 21.6 points during the regular season, also 5.3 rebounds, 5.1 assists, and 48.4% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for Oklahoma City, or OKC, during the regular season. He did rank 25th in points, 65th in rebounds, and 34th in assists, while also ranking 44th in field goal percentage. So he did a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Jalen Williams, we definitely do very much like this matchup because they do face off against the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, looking at this series, obviously OKC do lead 3-0, so they are up quite a bit. Now, they do face off against, like I mentioned,
the Memphis Grizzlies, but looking at both of these teams and where they rank, Thunder obviously did take the number 1 spot in the Western Conference with a record of 68-14. So they did a fantastic job there. And then looking at Grizzlies, they did come in at the 8th spot with a 48-34 record. So they also did a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Jalen Williams, we do very much like this situation, because when we look at Grizzlies, we do see that Grizzlies do rank when it comes to points allowed. They do rank 15th. They rank 15th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they rank 16th. So, like I mentioned, guys, there is only 16 teams in this ranking due to the fact that it's looking at only the playoff teams. But looking at that, they pretty much rank second last and last in all 3 categories. And that's a big sign to us on why we do very much like, the over for this situation. For someone like Jalen Williams, we definitely see him being able to take advantage of this, as Memphis have just done a poor job defensively. And now that the fact that Ja Morant may also be out for this game, we could see OKC close out this series pretty quick. Now, it isn't really certain whether Ja Morant isn't playing. It's still up in the air. Game time decision more like of, but when it comes to Jalen Williams, we don't really see him struggling in this matchup to go on the over. When it comes to this matchup as well between Thunder and Grizzlies, what we have seen from both of these teams that they both are pretty fast-paced teams, so we are expecting a good amount of pace from both of these matchups. Now, looking at, all 3 games against Memphis, we do see on game 1, which they did end up winning 131-80. He only had 20 points in that matchup, but he had 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Now, that was a bit interesting due to the fact that it is a blowout situation. So Jalen Williams and the rest of the starters were taken off early. In game 2, we actually saw a matchup where he actually had 24 points, which is great to see, 6 rebounds and 5 assists. So he did go on the over in 2, out of those 3 lines, which is great compared to his averages. And then the most recent game, 114-108, he had 26 points, which was fantastic, 6 rebounds again, which is over as well, and then 5 assists. So just slightly under, when it comes to the assist category. But overall, Jalen Williams has had a really good usage rate in all 3 departments against Memphis in all 3 games, and we definitely see them closing it out in this one. Now, I don't really expect Memphis to really throw this game. I do believe they are going to fight till the end, whether Ja Morant plays or not. So we are expecting, a good amount of usage rate from both of these teams coming into this next matchup, no doubt about it. Now, obviously, looking at someone, like Jalen Williams, we definitely have seen him play great throughout the whole season. His usage rate remains very high, so we should definitely see that continuing on into this next game. So keep an eye out for Jalen Williams' line. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially if the line is under his averages. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Aaron Gordon. So Aaron Gordon, great player, as we all know, from the Denver Nuggets, and he has done a fantastic job all season. Now, what we have seen is that when it comes to actually Aaron Gordon, he has averaged 14.7 points, 4.8 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and also a 53.1% field goal percentage. So he's done a fantastic job for, like I mentioned, the Denver Nuggets. And when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, they do have themselves a very good matchup against the LA Clippers. So it is definitely going to be and has been a very exciting series. The Denver Nuggets are looking to tie things up because the LA Clippers currently actually do lead this series 2-1. So they do have the lead, and because of that, coming into this next matchup, the Nuggets are looking to tie it up 2-2. So it's a very integral game for this Nuggets during this series. Now, when we look at both of these teams, this is the most even matched up because Nuggets actually came in at the 4th spot with a 50-32 record, which is actually a 61% win percentage. And Clippers also had the exact same record of 50-32. They came in 5th with a 61% win percentage as well. So, it is a very even matchup between both of these teams. When it comes to Aaron Gordon, the Denver Nuggets, they are looking to try to push and solidify a game 4. So, they can set themselves up for a better series throughout the rest of it. Now, looking at Nuggets and Clippers, what we do see when it comes to the LA Clippers, we do see them ranked 6th in points allowed. They're ranked 9th in assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank 14th. So they haven't really done a fantastic job defensively. We have seen LA Clippers actually focus a little bit more in, just playing great offense. Their defense has definitely diminished quite a bit. Now, we still do very much like the over for someone like Aaron Gordon coming into this game. Now, when it comes to Aaron Gordon, what we also do know about him is that he does play that power forward position. And LA Clippers actually do a very, very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the actual power forward position. So we definitely see someone like Aaron Gordon actually going on the, over in this situation here. Now, I would definitely focus a little bit more on points and rebounds, however, due to the fact that when it comes to the assist line, I don't and highly doubt there will be an assist line out. We should see him, really do much more better in the points and rebounds, as he does have a higher usage rate in both of those departments. So I definitely would keep an eye out for that for sure. Now, looking at these 3 games against actually LA Clippers, we see that on game 1, they actually won 112 to 110 in overtime, and he had 25 points in that matchup, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist. So he did go over on the points and rebounds, which is what we wanted due to the fact that I would say to focus on those 2. Then next game, LA Clippers, game 2, we saw him have 14 points, so just missed down the line, but he still got 6 rebounds, so went on the over there, and then also had 1 assist in that matchup. Then in the most recent game, game 3, we saw him have 15 points and 7 rebounds and 0 assists. So one on the over on the 2 categories that I think you should definitely focus on. So coming into this next one, we should see a very, very similar outcome. We do very much like the over for someone like Aaron Gordon, but like I mentioned, keep an eye out or focus in on points and rebounds, as I see a lot more value there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for his line. I definitely see a lot of value to go on the over, especially if the line is under his averages. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Alperen Sengun. So Alperen Sengun, great player from the Houston Rockets, and he's done a fantastic job because we've actually seen him average 19.1 points during the regular season, also 10.3 rebounds, ranking 9th, 4.9 assists, ranking 40th, and a 49.6% field goal percentage, ranking him 36th. So he has done a fantastic job for the Houston Rockets, and the Houston Rockets do have themselves a very good game because they are coming into game 3 against the Golden State Warriors. So it definitely is going to be a very, very exciting game. Obviously, when we do look at, the matchup between both of these teams, we did see Houston Rockets did actually have a record of 52-30 in the regular season. And they did have a 63.4% win percentage. And then they face off against the Golden State Warriors, while the Warriors have a record of 48-34, and they came in 7th with a 58.5% win percentage there. So it's definitely been, an interesting series between both of these teams due to the fact that just on paper, you should expect Rockets to win due to the fact that they are ranked 2nd, but, Warriors haven't let up just yet. So they are coming into this game and trying to win it. The series is tied 1-1. So, this game 3 is very, very crucial. Now, looking at the Golden State Warriors and where we actually see them rank, we did see the Golden State Warriors rank 4th when it comes to points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, they do rank 6th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Warriors actually rank 15th. So interestingly enough, they do a very poor job on rebounds. Now, we do very much like the over for this situation here, however, strictly just for rebounds. And a big reason being is that when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, they have done just a poor job at rebounds. They also do a poor job out rebounds, especially against the center position. And we definitely see someone like Alperen Sengun going on the under in this one. Now, when it comes to Sengun, I definitely see that points is definitely one you can definitely still look at due to the fact that he does, Warriors actually have a poor defense towards points against the center position. So we definitely could see Alperen Sengun take advantage of that. But overall, I think points and rebounds is definitely ones you want to focus on. I think rebounds has a little bit of a higher priority due to the fact that Warriors have just done a poor job rebounding, not just throughout these playoffs, but just throughout the regular season as well. They also did struggle. And that is usually due to the small ball that they do like to run. So Sengun is able to take advantage of this coming into this next one. Now, looking at his matchups against, Golden State Warriors, we actually saw even in the regular season him do a similar, sort of outcome due to the fact that they did actually play on April 7th, and he actually had 14 rebounds in that matchup and also had 19 points. So went significantly over on the rebounds. Points just missed it by 0.1. But then looking at the game one, we saw him have 9 rebounds, so did go in the under, but also had 26 points in that matchup. And then in the most recent matchup, game 2, we actually saw him have 17 points and then 16 rebounds in that matchup. So was significantly able to go on the over there. So just off the past games, we see out of the 3 games against Warriors as of recent, 2 of the games he was able to go on the over, and we should see a similar outcome in this next one, no doubt about it. So, Alperen Sengun, we do very much like the over for this situation here. Like I mentioned, I think rebound is where you definitely want to focus on. I think points has the capability, but you definitely want to still just keep an eye out for the line first and also see if the Warriors will be having Jimmy Butler in this matchup. But, if there's one to really focus on, no matter the actual kind of external factors, whether Jimmy Butler is playing or whether other Warriors players are playing in some sorts, I do believe rebounds is definitely one Sengun can still take advantage of and go on the over in this one. So keep an eye out for Sengun's line for sure.